the tyre barrier. So, and we got another car off in turn 5, it's Van der Garde, so that's obviously a replay then of where Van der Garde damaged that front wing and some. That was quite a big one.
As you can tell from the fact, well, that's how the front wing actually ended up underneath the car. And he's still, I think, out on track.
To brake in those traction zones, just applying the pan. We've had a car in the wall, so we've got to, or certainly been off the road, and the front wing tucked underneath. Very dangerous situation.
Van der Garde, who has had his problems, and there's his teammate Charles Pic, just having a little look as he goes past. He's had his problems, Van der Garde, and there's Lewis Hamilton stopping by the side of the track. What's happened here? Disastrous start to his first qualifying session for Mercedes.
I think yes,
he has.
The rear tyre, he's beached the thing effectively. I mean, he's got to just keep the engine running, because if he's perceived to be in a dangerous position, which he clearly is there, the marshals give him a push. I believe he's then allowed to drive.
Oh,
so he's going backwards. Yeah. You're only allowed to go in the opposite direction of the racetrack if you're in a dangerous position. So again, I think he's okay in terms of the regulations. And smart move there then. So Lewis lives for another day. I think he's going to drop it through the exit of turn 1, and he ends up on the grass in 2. There it is. Oh, he's so lucky if he didn't hit the wall. Oh, he did hit the wall. So he'll have to come in and get that rear wing check.
And so, I wonder if he'd have been on the radio to the team as well, saying, look, guys, I've beached this. Can I go back? Am I allowed to do that? Or is that something the driver just takes his own initiative?
I think he'd have just been like you do if you get stuck in a road car, just rocking it backwards and forwards. So does it, what hits the wall? He hits the grass now, which is going to, the car almost seems to accelerate. Oh, we don't quite know, do we? Can we see?
He's going to hit the wall.
So the rear wing hits the...
What's happened to Felipe Massa? Going very slowly indeed. He's lost his front wing. So another one making contact with the wall, you would imagine.
If there's no other damage, that's about a dozen seconds to change that. It's not a big deal. It just depends if it did any further damage when he went off the road. Oh, and he's dropped it coming out of turn 12, I think that is, David.
It is, and didn't...
Oh, wow.
Spun him around there.
So if he gets away with just the nose change, that'll be... His middle name must be Lucky.
And he just got on to the yellow line.
Do you know, I don't think his suspension hit the wall. I don't think the wheel hit the wall. Lucky boy. He's realised, look, actually, wow, I've still got 4 wheels left. I'd better carry on.
And here's Mark Webber going across the grass, even before he gets to turn 12.
Something tells me these wets, other than on Nico Rosberg's car anyway, these wets are really not dialing in.
Oh dear, and there goes Charles Pic in the Caterham. One Caterham driver damaged a front wing, managed to get back to the pits, and Pic, I think, is going to be stranded by the side of the track. No, he's managed to keep it going again. Either way, 2 front wings damaged at that team during the course of this session. Oh, and Esteban Gutierrez, one of the rookies, one of the 5 rookies, has ended his first qualifying session minus a front wing as well.
And anybody who needed a lap in the dying moments of that Q1 have had that spoiled now, because they can't do personal best through these sectors.
And the poor
performance. Yes, everything okay.
And Gutierrez in the bottom 6. One of the luckiest men out there is Kimi Räikkönen, who's actually just managed to put himself up to 10th, but he was right on the cusp as we watched what happened to Gutierrez. It's a hefty whack, isn't it?
Same place that Massa hit.
And the performance...
In fact, there's a load of Ferrari bits still sitting down there. So the freshers, the new kids, they had a few adventures there, didn't they? Vettel's taking them around pretty quickly, it has to be said. The pack is a little bit strung out, and so he'll need to stop into the pit straight and back those cars right up. Otherwise, he's going to be sitting a long time on pole position.
17th Australian Grand Prix to open the World Championship season, and 11 times in 17 races here, the winner has gone on to become world champion. There are plenty watching on, hoping their man will do just that this afternoon. Charlie Whiting, the race director, making sure everyone is lined up in the proper place. And you're right, Martin, as the leading foursome sit on their blocks, and they're still filing behind, and they're a long way behind Van der Garde and Peak right at the back.
Especially as you've got a lot of drivers starting their first Grand Prix. They will be tardy getting themselves sorted out at the back. But the saving grace is there's slightly less of them this year. But Webber then already pointing towards Vettel, making his intentions very clear indeed. Vettel's a long way forward in his pit box, in his grid box.
5 world champions on the grid, 5 rookies on the grid, 13 drivers with less than 40 starts, and we're about to get underway. 5 lights on, and it's away we go. Sebastian Vettel gets a decent start. Massa flying behind Mark Webber. Lewis Hamilton covers off Fernando Alonso as into turn 1 we go now. Nico Rosberg on the inside challenges Alonso. Vettel is clear of any trouble. Massa up to second place, and going off onto the grass there is Daniel Ricciardo in the Toro Rosso. Vettel streaming away. Hamilton under pressure from Alonso as down into turn 3 we go. Hamilton with the inside line. Massa is sandwiched in between his teammate and Hamilton, but still manages to get into second place as through to turn 4 they travel.
Great start from the Ferraris as per last year. Awful start from Mark Webber on the front row of the grid. Once again, the car just didn't move when the lights went out, as if he went into Bogdan or anti-stall, and it's put him on his back foot already. So Mark Webber continues to have those starting issues.
And the Ferraris, who had excellent starts last year, continuing on where they left off in 2012 as well. Adrian Sutil making places up ahead of Jenson Button, it looked like to me, and Paul di Resta there in the Force India as well. But here we go, Fernando Alonso behind Felipe Massa, was maybe looking for room to get past. Raikkonen is all over the gearbox of Lewis Hamilton as well.
And Alonso came off turn 12 a lot faster than Massa, and here it is. So down into 13, will Massa yield on his... Oh, look at that.
Big lock-up from Lewis Hamilton. Kimi Raikkonen forced wide. Lewis Hamilton just stays ahead of him, but by the skin of his teeth as they go through turn 13 and 14.
Massa kept it then, so Massa stayed ahead of Alonso. He's not yielding at all, unless they tell him at some point later in the race. He will not give up, and I don't blame him. He's been flying all weekend.
Sebastian Vettel sets the fastest lap of the race. Now he comes through turn 1. Felipe Massa still ahead of Fernando Alonso. Kimi Raikkonen will be behind the Williams, which is taken to the grass. Pastor Maldonado struggling a bit there. That's not going to hold Kimi Raikkonen up. Did the Finn a favour. Oh dear. Williams beached and in the gravel. Pastor Maldonado, who ended his Australian Grand Prix by hitting the wall this time last year, and has ended up on the beach far too early in the gravel and out of the race.
Looks like he was due in the pits, doesn't it?
No, that's going nowhere, however fast he spins those rear wheels.
It's not really a safety car scenario. I wouldn't have thought. They should be able to clear that away and cover it under single wave yellows now.
Can you keep going, Pastor, or not? Okay, Pastor, just switch off the car. Switch off the car if you can't go.
And as a result of that stranded Williams, DRS has been disabled so that the drivers can exercise slightly more caution going into turn 1. Down to you, Ted.
I believe he was due in sometime. Sorry, here's a replay, David. You do the replay.
Yeah, well, he just got on the yellow line, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he actually dipped the left rear into the dirt even.
But the mechanics were out in the pit lane because Bottas, his teammate, had just made a stop.
Thanks, Ted.
But we still have a tremendous race that's going to shape up, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't actually know. Oh, what's that? The Mercedes going off?
Left rear puncture, is it?
It is. Nico Rosberg.
No.
And pulling over to the side of the track. Remember, this car had a problem with his gearbox on Saturday morning. And, well, some waves from the fans, but he will not want to be waving back much. Rosberg is out of the Australian Grand Prix. What has happened there? Running in the top 3, Nico Rosberg forlornly climbs out of his Mercedes. Earlier today, looking so good for him, wasn't it? Fastest in Q2, excelling in the wet, running in the top 3 in the race, but his race is now over.
So that's going to be in 7th place.
Let's just have a little look here as Lewis Hamilton had made his move, so therefore Alonso was free. to go round to the left, locked up his brakes and somehow managed to stay ahead and keep the car under control.
What impressed me far more in that situation was Alonso recognised all of that, didn't turn in, just gave him the space. He could see in his mirror that Hamilton was out of control, and he just waits, look.
It's an easy thing to think about in hindsight, isn't it? But around about 190 miles an hour, things happen a little bit faster.
Yeah.